In the 1800s, during the Enlightenment, religious institutions had to find a way to justify their beliefs. While scientific findings at that time and now becoming increasingly undeniable, the church found a need to defend the faith with philosophical arguments. Carrying out severe punishment for heresy is now a thing of the past. Philosophy, theology, and creation science were designed as a substitute form of proselytism. Given that the assortment of theological arguments may seem logical, however, they more often than not fall into tatters immediately when viewed under the lens of skepticism. The argument from justice is a common argument regurgitated by religious apologists, which is founded upon the supposed need for a subsequent afterlife as to which all human actions are judged by a transcendent being. This argument is a logical fallacy due to its appeal to human emotion and the intrinsic human desire for justice. It also falls prey to wishful thinking, the presupposition that objective morality exists, and also comparable to Buddhist karma teachings. There are consequences for every action, moral and immoral, and by this, apologists declare that an eternal afterlife must exist. The syllogism for the argument from justice, according to Immanuel Kant, goes as follows. Premise 1. Humanity does moral and immoral deeds. Premise 2. Rewards and punishments for deeds are not contingent upon human justice, and some are not held accountable for their deeds. Premise 3. Looking at the world around us, immoral behavior is sometimes rewarded, while moral behavior is not rewarded. Premise 4. Moral behavior will only be rational if there is more than just this life, and if justice is administered in the next life. Conclusion. Therefore, God and the afterlife must exist. There is a vast wealth of problems with this argument. This argument is begging a question, or assuming a conclusion in the premise, that Christianity is the correct religion out of the 30,000 denominations, and assumes the Christian God and the Christian afterlife are the only available options. If I accept the Christian justice argument, according to some Christians, once you are saved, you are always saved. This permits a person to escape accountability. All sins can be forgiven if you but believe, and only the sin of disbelief cannot be forgiven, which by necessity renders Christianity unjust. A rapist can live his life raping women and have a deathbed or prison confession, thus being absolved of all those deeds, while the unbeliever, irrespective of his good deeds, is seen as the ultimate, inexcusable, unforgivable offense. This is an offensive idea and a parody of fatherhood and integrity. According to Isaiah 64, your works are as filthy rags. In essence, it does not matter how righteous you were in this life, if you cannot make yourself believe Jesus is Lord, then you are condemned. 2. The concept of infinite punishment for finite immoral deeds and infinite rewards for finite moral deeds is fundamentally contradictory, according to Isaiah 64. The two attributes for the Christian God, all just and all merciful, are in direct contradiction, because if God is all just, he isn't all merciful, and if God is all merciful, he is not all just. 3. There is no reason to suggest that there will be ultimate justice simply because we wish it to be true. This is a classic example of wishful thinking. If there is injustice in this world, it's safe to assume that injustice exists in our universe. If I accept the afterlife argument, it should exist in the afterlife too. If we desire justice, we should seek out justice for criminals in this lifetime, not hope for cosmic justice in an afterlife. If the theists believe that immoral deeds will be remedied in the afterlife, then there is no incentive to seek justice in the here and now. The belief that a divine around-the-clock surveillance camera watching you, or a big brother in the sky watching all of your actions, is patently absurd. This is the definition of servitude and is a sneaky form of mind control. People quite frankly want justice, but simply wanting something does not change reality. I cannot fathom how this doctrine appeals to anyone, because this system essentially creates a victim mentality, such that the believer's mind is instilled with a superficial fear and guilt by proxy. I think that has a double entendre, because the more you are submerged into being a victim, the more you are getting closer to God. When all of the world is persecuting you, making you suffer, bullying, or making you miserable, this serves as a tribute of your devotion. I find this to be utterly repugnant and want nothing to do with it. Is this the best concept that a cosmos creating, infinitely potent, tremendously intelligent being can conceive? For all the theists watching, if there is an afterlife containing everlasting reward, punishment, and an omnipotent, omniscient, just deity, are you behaving yourself because you seek a reward or fear punishment? Do you love your neighbor as a means to your own end, or do you love your neighbor as a result of genuine altruism?